Democratic Senate majority after the 2022 midterms. Hello, everybody. I'm David Schuster, and thanks for joining us on the conversation. Confidence is growing in many Democratic quarters about the way some Senate races are shaping up. And again, there seems to be every indication now that Democrats feel they've got a really strong chance of not only keeping their majority in the US Senate, but actually adding to it. Is that realistic? Here to talk about this is Bre Maxwell. She's a Democratic strategist, principal and CEO of Indigo Consulting. Bre, great to have you on the program. Are Democrats being realistic when they think about maintaining control of the Senate?
Absolutely. I don't see why we would not be realistic when it comes to keeping control of the Senate. And some of the things that have come out as of lately has been able to show the strength that the Democratic Party is having. And the fact that this current Senate is able to work across the aisle to make sure that we are getting things done. I know we have had a hard time with Senator Manchin and also Sinema, but it also shows you not only does the Democratic Party want to make sure that we are taking care of the American public, we want to make sure that we are also working across the aisle. So no bill that the senators have been able to put out has gone without any approval from senators, Republican senators as well.
Out of the 35 Senate races, I think only 10 or so are competitive. Some of those include Georgia, where Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, is leading. Herschel Walker, the Republican challenger. Pennsylvania, currently held by a Republican. You've got John Fetterman, the Democratic lieutenant governor, who's leading Oz, the Republican candidate. It feels like a lot of races seem to be breaking the Democrats' way.
Yes, and I think this is the great thing because Georgia realizes that, look, Raphael Warnock is a great guy, and he's been able to do great things for Georgia since he has been able to be in elected office. And we saw that in 2020 when people galvanized behind him. I even went to Georgia and helped work on that election. And the people were excited. And I think once Warnock is able to win again in November, you'll be able to see why it was very important to make sure that he wins again. And even with Fetterman brings a different type of energy and spirit to elected office. And I think that's something that people are looking forward to across the country, young and old alike. People are looking for politicians who are not just political, but people who are down to earth. And not only is Fetterman down to earth, he's also smart and he's intelligent and he's able to get the job done.
You spent a lot of time in South Carolina politics. You're something of an expert, I suppose, on Southern politics. A lot of people don't quite understand in the Georgia Senate race, the Herschel Walker appeal that unless you're from Georgia, unless you remember just how valuable, how crucial football is down there, and that he was a Heisman Trophy winner and a national champion winner, people don't understand, well, how does that translate into political success? What is it that keeps Herschel Walker, I suppose, within striking distance in the Senate race?
Well, one thing in the South we love is we love our guns and we love our football. And be it that Herschel Walker is from Georgia, Georgia is a big football state. And for people who aren't political, those are minor things that they look at. They look at how you translate to certain communities. And for communities that are not political, they look at sports as a talking point. That's like locker room talk. If I can go into the boiler room or locker room or even a barbershop with you and have football talk, then you have captivated my attention. And because of that, I'm going to support you. So it's little things like that politicians have been able to use in order to bring people to the table. So that Herschel Walker effect, yes, he's a black man. He is a black guy with a rise in politics. And he's also an ex-football star. So because of stuff like that, people look at him and people galvanize to that. Unfortunately, he's not a great politician. And I do not see him being a great politician ever. But it's those minor things, such as the football history, that people are able to galvanize towards.
What are you seeing right now in terms of young black voters? A very crucial dynamic in literally every sort of statewide Senate race across the nation. How are young black voters trending these days? What are the issues that matter to them?
It really depends on which young black voters you're speaking to. So talking to some young black voters in South Carolina, some of them are looking for something different. They're looking for someone who speaks to their issues. They're looking for people who look like them and who can translate to the things that they are able to do and things that they look forward to. So for some instances, young black voters are looking for people who can bring jobs, who can bring about healthcare, who can help bring down the cost of education, student loan reform, who will also help get rid of student loans. So these are some of the things that young black voters are looking for. And then even in some areas, you have young black voters who want to galvanize behind the candidates for school choice. They are looking for the candidates who will not have so many taxes on small businesses. And they are also looking for the candidates who are very conservative minded and who are actually trying to get rid of abortion. So it really depends on what young Black voters you're talking to and what area of the country that they're in. But I believe in order to tackle and in order to bring young Black voters and get young Black voter contact, you have to really be speaking to their issues. And it really depends on what part of the country that you are in.
You mentioned the young Black Republicans, which seems to be a phenomena that has a lot of Democratic pollsters very worried because of that focus on economic issues and school choice. What is it that Democrats can do to keep their margins among young Black voters and sort of avoid many of them bleeding over and becoming Republicans?
Well, look, what Democrats are going to have to do is they're going to have to put their money where their mouth is, because one reason why young Black voters are not galvanizing with some Democrats is the fact that some Democrats have made promises that they have not been able to keep. And because of that, Republicans have been able to use that as a talking point. I remember in 2020, when we did some polling, some young Black people said the reason why they decided to move over to the Republican Party was three things. One, Republicans made sure that there were money going towards HBCUs. So their take was, if you can make sure that my children can go to a HBCU, a Black college, then listen, I'm going to galvanize behind you as a politician. Two was getting Black men out of jail. We also know that this has been a crazy phenomenon for years about Black men being in jail. And we also saw with the Donald Trump administration that they did release a few Black men out of jail. And three, jobs. They just want to make sure that they're able to put food on their table, keep the lights on in their homes, and make sure that they're able to take care of their families. So if you're able to do those three things for certain pockets of our Black population, then yes, they will support you and they will vote for you.
Is there also something, I suppose, about, the Black community being more sort of splintered and a certain element perhaps not wanting or somehow resenting the idea that they are somehow victims?
Absolutely. So there are some young, from doing upon my own independent research, there are some young Black voters like, listen, I'm not a victim and I refuse to be a victim. And at this point, it's time for us to move on from that victim mentality. And what they see the Republican Party brings is about accountability and also transparency. And at this point, they are ready for different communities and different pockets and also politicians to speak to the things that they're looking forward to. And some of the things that they are looking forward to is economics. Economic empowerment, ways to make sure that Black wealth can translate for generations to come.
We have a lot of progressives, of course, who watch the Young Turks and follow us here. And a lot of them, I think, are puzzled about why progressives are not doing better in the South. What are some of the progressive issues that seem to resonate and some of the issues that perhaps don't resonate or might turn off voters in the South?
Well, I think one thing that is not resonating, and as it should resonate, is student loan reform. How right now, a lot of young people would like for student loans to be erased. And you have a lot of people in the South, basically across the country, that feels like as if, listen, that was a choice you made to receive those student loans. And it was a loan, and loans you have to pay back. So that's one thing that is not translating across all demographics and all sectors. Another is the Green New Deal. We saw when AOC was running for office and when she was elected to office, how people galvanized behind the Green New Deal. So those are some things that progressives are looking forward to. And some such things as how we are paying for healthcare, things of that nature. And it's just at this point, there is a fight between moderates and progressives. It's not as big a fight as the media portrays it to be, but it is some type of issue with the moderates and the progressives on just basically coming to an equal medium and trying to figure out how we can make sure that we can take care of the American people.
You mentioned at the top the impact perhaps of the Senate and Congress having this sort of agreement on healthcare and also climate change proposals. How much of an impact do you see that having on the midterms? And is it as big as a lot of people in Washington seem to be thinking?
Yes, I think so. And with some of the recent bills that Biden has been able to put forth and that the Senate has been voting on as of lately, it will help going towards the midterms, especially with gas going down, inflation actually improving. And the Biden administration just proven to us, like, look, we're definitely not heading towards a recession. What we are headed towards is economic recovery. So if these are some of the talking points that Democrats can actually push and actually demonstrate and show to people, the Democrats will be fine going towards the midterms.
And yet we have, as you point out, I mean, 3.5% unemployment rate, the lowest in 50 years. And yet Democrats seem to be caught over perceptions of inflation, that prices are out of control.
I think people live in the now. So because the fact that people live in the now, they're not understanding or they're not seeing that things are going to get better down the road. Yes, gas is still a little bit high right now, but guess what? Gas has went down within the last 7 weeks. Gas prices have went down. Inflation is still up there, yes, but guess what? It is also going down. And it's not like the Biden administration has been sitting there filling at their thumbs like, the world is at a collapse right now. I'm not sure what to do. But what the Biden administration has been able to do is work on getting us towards economic recovery. So we're well on our way. And this is just a talking point that Democrats need to use going towards the midterms.
And Bre, real quickly, is it good or bad for the Democratic Party to have Joe Biden on the ticket in 2024?
Absolutely. I do not believe in ageism. And if our president decides that he wants to run in 2024, then it is our responsibility to make sure that we're supporting him and putting forth our issues towards him. It does not look good as a party to not support the president and what he plans to do.
Bre Maxwell, Democratic strategist, president, and CEO of Indigo Consulting. Bre, great to have you on the conversation. Thanks for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.